Hello, I'm Keela Reese, and this is my multimodule project on homelessness in Northeast Ohio. So what is homelessness? Homelessness is not just those who do not have access to housing. It is a set of institutionalized relationships that benefit some at the expense of others. When we see people who have a criminal record, they are forced into this idea that they have to accept most lower class jobs and shelter options. The elites have made it to where this is the standard for those who are homeless and have a criminal record. A research team was able to determine a definition of homelessness that included a range of living conditions. First, we have limited or no shelter for any length of time. Second, we have homeless in shelters or missions run by religious organizations or public agencies for any length of time. Third, we have homeless who are staying in cheap hotels or motels with an actual length of stay or intent to stay of 45 days or less. And lastly, there are homeless who are in unique situations, maybe staying at a family's or friends with actual length of stay or intent to stay for 45 days or less. Here is a image provided by the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Usually we would think we have homeless on the side of the streets and alleys, just very huddled cardboard, but here we have a very big number of homeless together outside on the streets. So who is homeless? There used to be a stereotype for homeless where it usually was an old man. Sometimes the word hobo was used, but those are two very different things, and the stereotype for homeless people is no longer. So homeless is a very diverse group where we see young people, women, minorities, single mothers, and families. And we did see this increase in demographic because of the rapidly growing number of homeless people. So this chart is provided by Richard First in his essay, Homelessness, Understanding the Dimensions of the Problem for Minorities. So here we have the total number of respondents and those separated within race, but we also have here it's separated into gender, education, marital status, median age, and veteran status. Here we have an overwhelming amount of men who are homeless, and female, it's not as big as the men, but we do see that black men take the majority for homelessness, but the number is very slim between white and black men being homeless. The same with females. We do see a large number of high school dropouts who did not graduate being homeless, but we do see some who did graduate. They're not very far apart from being a graduate and not being a graduate from being homeless. We do see a small number of being married, but we do keep in mind that we do see whole families being homeless. But we do see a larger amount of never having been married, and the separated or divorced. They're very close in numbers. Medium age, we do see mid-30s seems to be the typical age, but we can't forget about the young people demographically. That's usually 18 to 24. And we see our veterans who are homeless. We do see a lot not being veterans in this sample that was taken, but we do see a big number being veterans that are homeless. In this second table provided by First, it breaks down what type of homeless, how many days, the average number of days, what type of county they were in, and time in that county with the same respondents. Ohio homelessness. So in 2020, it showed that on any given night, there were 10,655 homeless people, and this means that there are 9.1 homeless people per 10,000 people that are in that general population. And then we have this chart of statistics for Ohio. So there's that total number. And then, as I said, we have total number of family households. So these are whole families being homeless, who are going without housing or not very stable housing. And then we see our veterans. And as we see, this is a bigger number. This is a general census than what FIRST provided. But we know that this is up to date than FIRST's sample. Chronic homelessness, these are people who can't get out, have been homeless most of their lives, and maybe it was as a family thing. Their families were homeless, their mom, their dad was homeless, and it just keeps on going. And here we do have young adults. We do see that a larger number, just a little bit larger than veterans being homeless at 18 to 24 experiencing homelessness. And then here we have students unaccompanied. We do see that this number is a lot larger than total homeless populations, probably because of the young adults does only cut out, it starts at 18. These could be younger middle school, younger high school students being homeless. Then we have, it breaks it down to unsheltered, sheltered, if they're staying in motels or hotels, and doubled up. So in Cleveland, we see that at any given night, there were 1,675 homeless people. And this means that for every 10,000, there is at least 13.6 homeless people. Around 1996, we see Cleveland having hundreds of unhoused people over a 7-year period. We see that institutionalization of the elite forcing these demographics into a role that they can't get out of. So we have a variety of families struggling, going job to job, and still not breaking this mold or role that they were put in. There was a time when the railroads were being built that the elites decided to pay attention to the homeless problem because it was bad for their business. The people living on the streets was not a very good scene for these businesses. And they started this charity movement to help get these homeless people off of the streets. But this focus shifted to focusing more on the Cleveland's landscape and trying to draw in tourists. Here is a photo provided by Cleveland of a homeless shelter. Usually this is a communal sleeping area. We have they right on top of each other. And usually further into the building there would be a cafeteria, maybe an office with counselors to talk to people and help them get the resources that they need to get back on their feet. Another table provided by Frost. It's the same sample of reasons. So we have economic factors. I do want to focus that a large percentage, 87% of these respondents had a job before being homeless. So it's not just those who can't get a job. It's those who maybe were having financial problems. We do see there's not a large number of being on welfare or on Social Security. That is another stereotype, that a lot of homeless people are on welfare and Social Security and need to be like Section 8 and stuff like that. But they get help from these things. So we do see a lot of people who had jobs or had been in jail, like that criminal record role or mold, that they can't get a job and that they're homeless because of financial problems or family conflict and such. This is another table by Frost first. In the appearance in which the respondents came in, a lot of these make sense for their situations. Mental health, there was said to be a link between homelessness and mental health, though we do see a lot of people who suffer from mental illness are homeless because their families don't want to take care of them or they can't get the medical help that they need. But this focuses on that respondent group and what their mental health issues are. And the top one is depression and anxiety, which makes sense for those in that type of situation. I would be stressed for not knowing when my next meal is going to be or where I'm going to stay warm for the night. So this makes sense a lot of the time, but there is no direct link from mental illness being in homelessness. There is a link of maybe being homeless and developing these mental illnesses. as opposed to just mental illness in the homeless. So here's just another table breaking down each of these mental illnesses and how the respondents responded in their interviews or surveys. So we have subjective distress, behavior disturbance, and reality testing disturbances. Another one just breaking down the psychiatric severity and behavioral disturbances. See, we don't really have a lot of those because, like I said, there is not really the biggest link between homelessness and mental illness. Resources. This is a website, End Homelessness. This belongs to the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Here in the next slide, there will be a video on how to access the link to the resources to get for people who are homeless if you're experiencing homelessness, or if you know somebody who is experiencing homelessness, and how to access these resources to get them the help that they need. Here we're just typing in the link. So this is the home page, and pause here, and we see how we have these tabs up here: Help End Homelessness, Centers for Learning, Resources, Ending Homelessness, Homelessness in America. The resources will give you all the data and graphics that I provided you with the numbers in each state. Help End Homelessness, this is where you can volunteer and donate to shelters and donate to this alliance to help end homelessness. But here we are scrolling down all the way down to the bottom of the page, and there's this tiny link right here. It says how to get help if you're experiencing homelessness. And clicking on this whole page is giving you step-by-step instructions on how you can get help and ways and links to access certain things. And I know a lot of people are probably like, oh, well, if you're homeless, how do you get access to the internet? Libraries, I know that is a stereotype of people that don't have access to certain things, but I do find a lot of people who are homeless, especially younger people, do still have their cell phones and internet access, so this would be great for them to access. Okay, conclusion. As we see from the elites, homeless affects the looks of your community, but those people mean more than just the aesthetic of the businesses in the community. Economically, with that many homeless people, it could bring financially and economically the community down. But we do see this cycle, like the graph that had chronic homelessness. We do see the cycle of families just living in homelessness and how they can't get out. No way to break it. As a community, donate to those shelters. As in the last slide, we can go to the National Alliance to End Homelessness website. That is the link right there, where you can participate in certain events and volunteer, and possibly you could get a job there. There are many opportunities to help these people who are desperately in need. And these are my works cited, and that is my presentation, and